Today, I am picking Christian's watch collection and spending over $800,000. And I think there's some things that will surprise you, there's some things that won't, and there's some things that I'm rejecting from your collection.
I am so nervous because this, if you're smart enough, I don't know what he's about to say. And if you're smart enough, you're going, this could be like really like cutting. This could, I don't know, like you're going to say a lot of things about me and I'm kind of nervous. What is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Vintage Watch Shop.
My name is Michael, and this video is sponsored by Brilliant.
And today, Michael is actually revealing a full list of watches that he thinks would make my perfect collection.
Yes, we're talking AP, we're talking Patek, obviously we're talking Rolex, not Omega. Omega is on the list, but it's a watch that I actually don't think you'd want, even though you say you want it.
And it's a watch that I've tried on before and have
tried to buy.
Love-hate relationship with, but it's solid gold, so that does go my way.
That plays.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been collecting watches for 8 or 9 years now.
Yep.
My first watch was a blue Rolex Datejust that I bought when I was in college. I was 19. The watch was $3,000 at the time.
Wow.
Those prices have more than doubled since. But I've had an interesting collecting journey because I've seen so much, right? I mean, obviously being in the watch industry, and being in the metropolitan area, and there are honestly, so many people that do collect watches. And I've traveled all over the world meeting those people. Yeah. So, you learn so much about collecting, and the goal really is to find build a collection that reflects you, right? Yeah. That you can be truly content with. So this will be an interesting conversation, and we'll see that if Michael can put together a collection that I would be content with.
Yes.
And how much is the value?
Over $1 million.
So,
well over $1 million.
Maybe I'll be content with over $1 million.
Number 1. You are deciding between, I know, some Rolex sports models, probably an AP Chrono, a Patek, bunch of watches like that. 5712 is the most obvious one of this entire video.
Yes, absolutely. 5712 is a Patek Nautilus. It is the more complicated Nautilus. I think it is the greatest complicated Nautilus in my opinion. Yes. They also come in chronograph. There are a couple of different Nautiluses, obviously Nautili, annual calendar as well. But for me, 5712 is the greatest. Retail is right under 50,000 or 47,000, which is a lot of money, obviously. Yes. But the resale is over 100. And I would never, if I got one, I would never sell it. It would be an heirloom. We've actually had a pretty long conversation about my relationship and my journey with this particular watch, is 5712. Yeah. We released it on our podcast called The Zero. Michael and I sat down for over an hour and kind of talked about a whole bunch of things in the watch world and our collecting. But interesting conversation. Very. And you can go and sign up for our podcast and join our community down below. You can do a 7-day free trial. This is to dip your toe in the water, and all of our members get $100 store credit into the Theo and Harris leather shop. So you can just pick up anything. So that's it. We're building a great community over there. Would love to see you guys. And once you go over there, shoot me a DM. And love to chat about watches. Yeah. See you over there. Okay, back into the watches.
There are a lot of watches in this space that you were looking at. And I think you need to, if I was getting your collection, I would end you on this Patek and be like, no. You have to have a Patek for a specific reason. Yes. This is that reason. If you get the AP Chrono and the 5712 and this and that, they all of a sudden all dissolve in like that strong meaning.
Totally agree. The only watches that I'll collect with redundancy, I think, are like some gold watches, like gold Piagets. I'm redundant there, but generally speaking, I'm not redundant with watch collecting. Like it would be a very this or that when it comes to a lot of things. So
there's not a single Piaget on this list.
Well, because I have them all.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, you love enamel watches. You've shown me a ton of enamel watches from different brands at different price points. It is always on your list. There is one brand that has the biggest name in enameling. Do you know what brand that is?
No.
VC.
Oh, that's right. You've talked to me about this before.
VC is the big daddy of enameling. Yes. Not to say Patek doesn't do an amazing job. Omega, all these brands, when they do enameling. But VC is the beginning and the end, the Alpha, the Omega. Like the big people are like, no, we put enamel on watches. Yep. Also, the oldest watch brand, I think, or is it Breguet? Blancpain, Vacheron, Breguet.
1755. That's when Vacheron Constantin was founded. That's amazing.
1755. So you have a Patek now. You have this Nautilus. But I think you need something from VC that needs to be enameled. And they have a lot of stuff. The first thing I was looking for was a watch with a fish on it, because you always want to watch you always want to watch with a fish. They didn't have that. Sorry. That you could get a Patek for that, but I just don't think you should have another Patek in the mix yet. So, Vacheron Constantin Mercador Europe to Asia enamel. Sorry, I can't read that at all. This is celebrating the 400th anniversary of a watch, of a map maker, cartographer, I believe it's called. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's also 36 millimeters by 8 millimeters thick. So it's a dress watch that you can wear all the time.
It's insane.
And it tells the time by looking like a compass.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane watch.
That is an insane watch. I would honestly, I don't like the crown.
That's like the same case as my grandfather's Patek. Look,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's almost the same. My
That's what's
Patek
so
is a little bit more dramatic, but this is unbelievable.
I think you need an old enameled watch, because that adds to the story, and it needs to be small.
I also just love the whole world thing, you know? Like, I love the fish, obviously, but the world is just amazing. And the watch tells, you know, time in this bizarre fashion, right? So it's a phenomenal watch.
Incredible watch. Were you born?
95.
1 year off.
Really?
Yeah.
94?
94, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's automatic.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's not the movement I would expect at all.
It is not.
In terms of decoration, in terms of the actual movement, everything.
Yeah, you're right. That is funny.
Yeah. So I find that really interesting. I don't know why they use that movement, but either way, it's a JLC-based fantastic watch. I think that would be an iconic watch.
I agree.
Yeah.
Next up. That could be a one watch.
Oh, yeah. $70,000 watch. You and I so disconnected from reality. We're like...
That could be a one watch collection.
Next up, this is probably surprising, but also maybe not surprising. Moonwatch Professional, coaxial, master, whatever. A Speedy in yellow gold with a green dial.
That's so funny. That is the truest thing you could have done, right? Omega can do, but it's a Speedy. They can tell you all the great things.
It's a Moonwatch Professional, coaxial, master, Okay, it's a Moonwatch. It's a watch you've been making for like 1,000 years.
Literally.
This goes from 41,000.
Not literally 1,000 years, by the way. I'm like... I'd wear this. I'd wear like this to Wimbledon.
Well, here's the thing. This is. I was gonna say, by the way, Christian said Wimbledon last video. It's Wimbledon.
It's Wimbledon.
I don't know.
Wimbledon.
I'm just so glad that everybody in the comments that doesn't have to speak can pronounce everything perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're all over it immediately.
Yeah.
This is a watch that you've expressed interest in.
Mm-hmm.
I would not get you this watch because the watch you're wearing right now. I'm glad you wore it today.
Yeah.
What's your biggest concern with that watch all the time?
Size.
This is bigger.
It's 42.
And it wears bigger.
It's big.
That's 40. It wears smaller.
Yes, it does.
So I don't think you'd hate this for a while, but I think eventually you'd be like, nah. You'd get a picture of you back at Wimbledon and be like, that's a pie pan on my wrist.
You know, which is such a funny thing. When you think about watches and wearing watches,
you're like, think about me.
This is nice.
Oh yeah. Nice.
And what a watch would look like on your wrist.
Yeah.
What context do you think about it in?
What context?
Like in the woods, making a video. Like what is?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Well, it depends on the watch. I always want to find a watch that I feel like I can go for a hike with Taylor in. That's always my goal. That's always my context.
That's the happy place of wearing a watch.
100%.
Yeah, that's good. No, for me, it's literally at the diner. It's Vicky's Diner.
Oh yeah, you've said that.
For some reason, I don't know why. Like every time I'm like, oh, that watch would look good on my wrist. All I can think about is chunky sweater, the watch pushed up a little bit, and the watch on my wrist at Vicky's, my local diner. That's it.
When I think about watches, like it does change depending on the watch sometimes. But when I think about like this VC I just showed you, that is also a diner in my hometown, or like a bakery diner. And I think about again walking outside like in the fall, looking at that watch, and I'm like, yeah,
totally.
It's because we think we'd be content if we got these watches.
Well, we wouldn't be.
No. You'd be in the diner being like, I can't believe I spent $42.
Yeah, I'm an idiot
on this watch that's too big.
I hate myself.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I would not get that for you.
Yeah. Well, you know my story with the red one. I wanted to buy the red one.
Yes.
But they're sold out, and I kind of like floated if Omega can make an exception, because I heard that they did. But you know, again, I never push the issue with brands. I kind of mentioned like, hey, I would really like this, and then they don't. I don't know. They just don't bite back.
Yeah,
and I'm
right.
like, all right, I'll let it go, I guess.
We have a joke that there's a client. There's a few clients that you can get really renowned watches from if you push.
If I push.
We always have a joke that you. You lose our biggest client because you just can't stop talking about getting a watch.
So by the way, Michael's like, shut.
I'm like, you have to stop,
buddy. Stop.
You're like, this reminds me. Well, actually, before I get into that, I'm really trying to get in a. I'm like, you gotta stop. Okay, next up, that is a watch I would not put on your list.
Yes.
Next up, 1917 Cartier Tank Normale. You have a Tank Normale, but the one thing that gets me on this watch, besides the bracelet, you can get it in platinum, you can get it in white gold. I think there were like 5 made, so there's not a lot.
Yeah, there's like none.
This is impossible to get.
Yeah.
But the one thing that drives me nuts that Cartier hasn't put back into their watches.
What are you going to say?
What?
Breguet hands.
Breguet hands.
Yeah.
That is why I would get you this watch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would get you just any other Tank Normale, probably one that is still old.
Yeah.
But those hands, to me, elevate Cartier to new levels.
Yeah, I could get Breguet hands for my Normale. Like, I could just do that.
You should.
You know, that'd be kind of cool, right?
That's sick.
Yeah.
You have a flat dial, the Breguet hands. To me, that's what makes Cartier like, you're like, oh, that is the epitome of like,
Totally.
It's so delicate. It's so beautiful.
I love watch modification, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really do it because I'm just an incredibly unmotivated person. So I don't do it. But
You're laying in bed just like this.
I could do it.
I should do it today.
But I won't.
Not today.
But it totally could, you know, and that would be beautiful, I think. I think that would be really cool to put Breguet hands in that watch.
And putting it to this level, getting a 1917 Cartier is virtually impossible.
It's the original.
That will never happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you had all the money in the world, this would be a ton of work to
get.
You'd be offering people multipliers of 10, 20 for what they paid. But those hands, to me, make it unreal.
Very
and also
special.
that old dial.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
There you go.
This is a interesting watch on the list. This is a Rolex. Well, you can say it.
This is a Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36 in green.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's it. Love it. This one I was on the fence about. If I was picking out the watches I was going to get you, I'd be like, is he really going to wear this? Why would he wear that over the GMT or over something else?
It's redundant. Right,
Yeah.
it's another steel, you know, not another steel. This is white gold, but it's another, you know, Rolex Oyster, right, in white metal, right.
Yes.
So it's redundant, and a lot of people out there have collections like that, and that's great. It's just not probably something that I would do. I'd try to keep it a little bit more minimalist.
Yeah.
All my watches, but I don't know. Like, I could totally see myself getting that watch with very similar to like what Paul always said. You know, the whole idea is, well, I can give this to someone at some point, right?
Yes.
Buy that watch, wear it, make memories with it, and then, you know, maybe, you know, give it to my wife in this imaginary world where I'm married, or I don't know, like, you know, or my daughters in this imaginary world where I have daughters.
Did you like that comment I put on your Instagram?
That was awesome. That was so.
If I don't get to wear my Cartier for my 7th grade dance, I'm going to throw a brick through the patio door. You look into your wife, you're like, what happened?
Yeah, what did we do? How did we raise this child?
She's screaming behind you. Either way, the reason that I didn't not put this on the list was because...
Did not.
Yeah.
You did put it on the list.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
It's
I didn't. Okay, got it.
This is called gaslighting when I do it and I'm wrong. Short term, doesn't work out. Long term, very
Totally
beneficial.
works out.
The reason that this is on the list is because you're obviously a huge fan of Hemingway's writing. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to get in that mindset of, I don't think Hemingway spent a lot of time in the Rolex store looking. I think he was like, I like that one, I'll wear that one. This is the closest I think you'd get to that. Everything else is too nerdy for a Hemingway type of guy to go in.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
He'd also be amazed at the prices and a waiting list and stuff like that.
Right.
But
that's actually a really good way to put that watch, to frame that, like as your Hemingway watch, right? Because I wear this. I wear my GMT. I like it. I'm actually getting used to it even more. I think it's actually looking better on my wrist, whatever.
Yeah.
I was a little bit afraid of the sizing, but I do baby it a little bit. Like, I don't want to see scratches. And when I do, I am a little bit like,
no, it's a softer metal. Just
it is
by fact.
Yeah, I have a scratch right here. I have a scratch right there. It's normal. That happens. I'm not, you know. Yeah. But I do, like, I'm a little like that.
Oh, you hit it against the door. You're like, oh.
Exactly.
It's like when I had that pole that almost hit the G-Wagon.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're like,
oh God.
Exactly.
But this watch, I would beat the shit out of and be happy about. I would destroy that watch.
And it's also
destroy the watch. I would wear it like a normal human being.
Cut to you on your Mac.
Yeah, on Mac, getting a scratch in the thing. I mean, I would wear that watch. And I think that there's something very beautiful about like a watch that you're going to wear. I know it sounds stupid, but I really do mean it, right? Like my dad's GMT is worn. Exactly. It's also one of the reasons why I love watches on straps, right? Because you just beat up the strap and then that's it. You get a new strap.
We've talked about that all the time. My Explorer bracelet 114270 it's actually getting destroyed. Like all the links are digging holes in each other. It's getting flimsier and flimsier. There's a lot of stretch now on a steel Rolex bracelet. And we had that conversation where I was like, it makes the watch feel so old and not like I'm not as happy about it anymore because it's actually deteriorating.
Right.
When I was sold on it not doing that.
Right. So exactly.
Strap's amazing. Obviously, these new bracelets are beastly.
They're beastly.
We have to wait a while to see, but
that's a great watch.
That's the watch I think you'd come in to the store and be like, "That's just that one," and then leave, and you don't think about it. It's just your watch.
I think that's a watch like I don't expect to ever like get a gift from like who would give me a gift? My mom or my parents? My mom, because my dad doesn't buy watches. My mom, or like if I were ever to get married, I would get a gift. And I know this sounds ridiculous. I know this is going to sound obnoxious. Yeah. But how much is that watch?
$6,100.
That is in gift range for terrible.
If your wife-to-be reached out and was like, I want to get him a gift, this is our budget.
Right.
What should I get him?
It would be around that budget.
I wouldn't be like, it's an enameled VC.
Exactly. That is a ridiculous thing to propose, right? Exactly. But, again, there's no way around me sounding like an asshole on this guy. There's no way around it. But at $6,000, that is a gift that I think is culturally normative. That's a good way of putting it.
You're like, if I'm leaving a wedding and they're doing gift bags, I don't expect an enameled VC. Right. I don't expect that. Exactly. In the bag, do I expect a Rolex though? At least. Absolutely. Doesn't have to be complicated. Yeah.
So I could see, and green's my favorite color, which is why I'm saying this is the watch that someone would give me. Green's my favorite color since I was a little boy. Yes. And I could see I could see my mom giving me that watch, 100%.
Yeah.
For my 30th birthday.
Agreed.
No question. Whether you're a Submariner guy or a 50 Fathoms guy or a Day-Date guy or an FP Journe guy, you've got to just take a step back and appreciate this history here. This isn't stuff you're going to find in a showcase. This is not mass-produced stuff, which is beautiful in its own right. I mean, this is treasure hunting.
The price tag on this watch is $700,000.
Oh my God. This is it.
This is the Patek 3448. Interestingly, obviously, this is a very, very hard watch to find, especially in a non-yellow gold. But I think you'd love this watch, and it's 37.5 millimeters.
Yeah, it is. It is one of my favorite watches of all time.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Did I just point that out?
I haven't admired one of these watches in a little while. I just haven't.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, truly one of the greatest watches of all time. Period. End.
Yes.
And the successor with the red dot is also a phenomenal watch. But I've admired the 3448 forever. If you go back and watch original Theo and Harris videos, I bet you I say it's my grail.
Tell us a little bit about the watch.
It was the first. It wasn't the first automatic Perpetual, was it? I don't think it was.
First serially produced.
There you go.
Automatic moon phase calendar timepiece. Well, you basically knew. You just really shy.
It was the first serially produced automatic winding Perpetual. Patek made.
Yep.
And I think that it's just a flawless design. I think the lug to case ratio is perfect, and the dial ratio is perfect, and the fonts are perfect. I think that I hate to say this because I'm sure people own these watches out there that I'm talking about, but I think the model that Patek makes today, the successor to this, doesn't hold a candle. It doesn't hold a candle. The reference 53, what is it? 5396. Cool watch, but I don't think it holds a candle. I think it period end.
The beauty, I think, of this watch, and there's a watch that actually is kind of the opposite of it that'll come up in a second. But the beauty is that I feel like a lot of things are under the hood, even if they're not. Mm-hmm. But you took away essentially everything besides date, month, whatever. But in your layout, it is incredibly clean. Anything that you could have made into another dial, into another this, into another that, you just didn't put on the watch. You did it in a different way, so it looks almost close to a time-only moon phase.
Yes.
That's where you're like, what? It's a Perpetual?
Those early Talking Watches episodes with Jean-Claude Beaver and then Matt Jacobson, I don't remember in which order, just like totally formed or did a lot to form my taste in vintage watches.
Those old watches were unreal.
They're way out of my price range. God knows.
Yeah, of course.
But to look at them as museum pieces is just incredible.
Truly.
And it has never been done as well since. And that's it.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Moving from that to something more attainable, but then spicing it up to making it something a little less attainable, but something that you would definitely like more. Mm-hmm. We go to AP. You've had, I don't think this watch in white gold. I think you've had it in yellow. Mm-hmm. And you might have had the annual, not the perpetual.
I've had both.
You've had both.
Yeah.
This is the AP Perpetual Calendar reference 5548, around $30,000 in white gold.
Yep.
Fantastic. I photographed this watch, and right when I put it on my wrist, I'm like, that is a fantastic watch.
Totally.
This is a watch that I would get, if I felt like I achieved somewhere, this would be on the list of things to look at.
That's it. Once you're wearing a, Audemars or any of the, big brand perpetuals, that's kind of it. I mean, you did it. Like you won the watch game. You know,
you did, right?
Because you're doing it again, not to say want to say one is better than the other, but you're doing it for the horological reason, right? This is the least flashy watch.
Exactly.
This is just a complicated, understated, piece of traditional watchmaking. So it's the Nautilus and the Royal Oak exist to kill this watch, right? I mean,
of course,
that was the counterculture, right? Our entire culture now is
Nautilus, Royal Oak, big flashy,
and it was giving the middle finger to the grandfather, right?
Exactly.
Which is nothing wrong with that. It's just wow, on a factual level, this is watchmaking, and the other stuff is toys.
This is the epitome. I honestly think we'll get into the actual version of this that I would get for you. I honestly think that this watch you may wear occasionally, and then slowly it goes into the watch where you're just like, I'll just put that on. That's my watch.
Yep.
Because there is one man who works for or actually basically owns a very big company that you've worked for a very long time. Mm-hmm. That I think we both, whenever he's doing something, if you look at him, you're like, God, he's so put together. It's so cool. Always in a suit, always in this. Him having this would feel totally natural.
Totally.
And I think we both look at him and we're like, what a cool guy.
What a cool guy.
And this is what that turns into.
Totally.
Because you don't even want to talk about it. Someone says, nice watch. You'd be like, oh, all right, thanks.
It's also something Michael's been talking about a lot because we do talk about watches in our spare time as well.
Yes. Did we talk about this on a run through the hills of Glashütte?
Yeah, I think we did. And Michael, has been saying a lot lately, how beautiful it would be to just have a perfect precious metal dress watch from a great brand that you literally wear all the time.
Oh, yeah. That was the wedding that I keep talking about again and again and again. The bride's father has a Vacheron, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think you said Vacheron.
That he wears, honestly, a little bit too much. He wears it when he goes on runs. He doesn't bring an Apple Watch with him. He just wears that watch.
That's it.
And he's going to pass it down eventually. Yep. And I'm like, that is insane.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I think, there's something, it exists in watches, but it transcends watches. It's certainly much larger than that. But there's a level of contentment that is really alluring.
It's the diner, it's the coffee shop, it's the walk in the woods.
That's it.
Exactly.
Well, you're picturing serenity and satisfaction and having a nice thing and not wanting to replace it.
Yep.
And the truth is, we spend so much of our lives basically working to buy more garbage.
Yeah.
And we all do it. God knows. I'm not saying I'm post it. We're all it, to varying degrees, some more healthy than others. But there is something amazing about saying he's a one watch guy. It happens to be an incredible watch.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But it's he's got one, and he knew that was enough.
It's when you get so into a hobby, it becomes so much harder to find contentment in that hobby.
Totally.
So seeing this man at a wedding wearing this beautiful watch, he goes for a run in the morning with his daughter who's getting married, wearing that watch. You're like, that's insane.
Totally.
That right there, you're like, you're at least content with your watch.
Totally.
That's amazing.
Totally.
But this watch, I think you'd love. I would definitely get it for you. But do you know the one that I'm probably going to bring up? Same one.
Same.
Different dial.
No.
Look at that.
Oh, I've seen this.
AP, I'm going to mess up the pronunciation. Quantime Perpetual Calendar Platinum with a Tuscan dial.
Yeah, I've seen this.
That blue dial is absolutely
And it's
insane.
got this finish, this gradient finish, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's stunning. But these are more expensive, right? This
you can't even find for sale.
Yeah. These are really rare. Just an incredible watch.
This is the white gold.
Affordable version.
Exactly. Well, that's I did it. I'm this, I'm that. Yeah. And then we go down one.
This is my father did it.
Yeah.
And money doesn't mean anything to I have no emotional relationship to money.
This is where I classify... That's funny. I was going to say, this is where I classify you, but talking about something else.
Yeah.
I put you in that box of like, well, no, I've been working in watches for whatever point this may be. Yeah. It's like, I don't even want the rare watch no one else has heard of. Yeah. I want the rarest watch that the watch nerds have never seen.
That's something that you've talked about a lot more than I've talked about. And I guess it's because, you're the third party, and I'm probably too into it to, you know what I mean? You need a little bit of distance from it. And Michael will see some of my watches and go, particularly the Breguet, and I'm sure, like, even this, right? It's like, you're into watches.
Exactly.
Like, you've been doing this for a long time.
That, because if you wanted a white gold GMT, you probably get the blue dial so people know it's white gold.
Exactly.
You stuck with the black dial and the Mark 1, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, it gets so nuanced, and it's because... when you've seen so much, when you've handled so much, when you've, bought so much, sold so much, blah, blah, so much of the, what is special or interesting or rare because you're not easily impressed because you've seen so much, period.
You've seen everything. Yeah, right.
So, again, within reason, but yeah, like it does take a really special thing, to get you interested.
And it's not even like this blue dial is gonna like hold you over for your entire life, but it's that point of like, I've seen absolutely everything. This one is cool. Like,
totally.
If I'm thinking about 12 people that I know that I've met my entire life that own the 5548 in white gold, like, this is the one that feels like me.
Totally.
And that's a very funny thing to say because it's an incredibly expensive watch, incredibly rare, but it hits that level where you're like, yeah, that's what I settled on.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, totally. These are beautiful. They're beautiful watches.
That's the list.
You clearly know me incredibly well, and I really am a dress watch guy at my core.
Oh yeah.
That stuff is so poetic and so beautiful and so refined and elegant.
Truly.
And I think that they look great on it with a T-shirt. Right. I always say this. I've been doing it forever. Right. I mean, I love that up down, right, of wearing a washed out tee and an ultra fine Cartier or Patek or Rolex for that matter, and that's what I love about the Datejust so much at the time and now until today is, the Datejust, it's got a little bit of size, a little bit of presence, right? It's 36 millimeter vintage Oyster, but there is this elegance to it. It is a dress watch. It's the sportiest dress watch in the world, but it is a dress watch, and there's something so beautiful about that old world or traditional feeling.
Exactly.
It's so cool.
It's true.
And I'm not coming from a guy wearing a GMT right now, and it's a modern sports watch, and that's true. I'm clearly it's but I think that everyone really ought to look at dress watches and at complication more. And there's so much value oftentimes, right? Just Michael put together the Perpetual by AP, but the triple calendar is $10,000 and phenomenal. Yeah. Small, no doubt.
Yeah. What was it, 34, 35?
It might even be like 33.
If it's my wrist, that's how you know it's small.
It's a small watch, but oh my God, you're talking about, for the same amount of money as a steel sub or less money.
Yeah.
You're owning a precious metal, complicated Audemars Piguet.
Unreal.
Makes no sense.
That's gorgeous. It's perfectly proportioned to everything.
Perfectly proportioned.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. If you dare to look into the traditional world in watchmaking, look at Breguets. Well, now I'm going on a rant here, but look at Breguet, look at the tradition that I own, the 7027.
Yeah.
Phenomenal watch. There's another reference as well. I don't recall, something 35, something like that. I mean, this watch is about a $30,000 watch, and this is a Perpetual Breguet from one of the great, it's an 18 karat yellow gold or white gold for that matter, Perpetual calendar that is finished, I think, far superior. The finishing is far superior than Patek and then Vacheron. I mean, and it's $30,000 because just no one wants it. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and those watches will appreciate. I mean, those watches will certainly appreciate.
Oh yeah.
But it's a flawless wristwatch.
Yeah.
Flawless. You know, the Patek Comp was a 3940, which is a great watch, but I don't think it's as great as the Breguet, and it's, you know, double the price. You know, it's double the price. So, you know, it's that ship has sailed, while there are some ships that are still docked. And that is, you know, that's what makes watch collecting interesting, is
truly,
you know, looking a little bit outside of your comfort zone, you know, and exploring even the greatest brands. You don't need to go off into the, you know, waste.
Nether, yeah, right.
Right there. It's right in front of you.
Right there. People just didn't care about it that much.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's wild.
So yeah.
That's the list.
You know me pretty well, my man.
I do.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this episode, please subscribe to the channel.
Yep.
And if you want to hear a lot more watch talk, head on over down below. Patreon at The Zero, where we host weekly chats, an hour or 2 hours with different watch dealers, Michael and I, my dad and I, for Liquor Run. It's free for the first 7 days, so go take a look and start a free trial. It can't hurt. And once you do sign up, there's $100 in credit coming your way in the Theo and Harris Leather Shop, so it's basically free to sign up. And that's it.
This video is brought to you by Brilliant, the best way to learn math and computer science. It's guided, interactive problem solving that's effective and fun. You can master concepts in 15 minutes a day.
You have to stay sharp. And the truth is, you know, we're always on our phones and consuming content. And that's great. You're consuming our content right now. And that's all well and good.
Thank you.
But I know that I notice a significant difference in my mental capacity, my ability to really navigate intelligently.
Yes.
If I'm not doing engaging, interactive, intelligent things. Right?
Yeah.
And Brilliant is a fantastic tool to keep you on your toes and to keep you intelligent.
Yeah. It's true. With Brilliant, you have effective hands-on learning. You can learn at your own speed, whether you're just starting or you're an expert in the field. You have guided bite-sized lessons, so nothing is too much. You don't have to spend a ton of time working through something. And all of their courses are crafted by award-winning teachers, researchers, and professionals from MIT, Caltech, Duke, Microsoft, Google, and many, many more.
Yep. It's just a healthy way to spend 15 minutes a day, right? It's the equivalent of the gym, right? It's the intellectual gym, and I really think that we all need to pay attention to our minds a little bit more, right? Keeping our minds fresh and agile. So I'm a big fan of Brilliant.
And if that is interesting to you, head on over to brilliant.org/Theo and Harris to get 20% off for the entire lifetime of you using Brilliant.
And, of course, you get a 30-day free trial.
I think it's great. Sharpen your pencils, and that's it. Let's get smart.
Yes, sir.